The hostile legion, an imposing force of biomechanical soldiers and hyper-advanced weaponry, descended upon Earth with an aura of invincibility. Their ships, sleek and formidable, glided through space with an eerie silence, their hulls glinting with alien technology. Equipped with quantum shields and plasma cannons, their arrival was heralded by a sudden and terrifying barrage of firepower, decimating outlying space stations with ease. Their arrogance was palpable in their communications, dismissive, derisive, and laced with condescension. They had been to countless worlds, and each had fallen before their might. To them, Earth was just another name on their list of conquests. The Legion's invasion strategy was a calculated display of superiority. They initiated their attack with surgical precision, targeting Earth's key military installations and infrastructure. The Legion's scouts, cloaked in adaptive stealth fields, infiltrated human defenses, gathering intelligence with a chilling efficiency. They knew their enemy well and were prepared to exploit every weakness. Their confidence in their own technology, which allowed them to neutralize enemy systems from orbit and deploy ground troops with near-perfect accuracy, blinded them to the possibility of resistance. Humanity, on the other hand, had been caught off guard. Despite years of intermittent skirmishes and intelligence warnings, the full scale of the Legion's threat had not been anticipated. The global response was swift, but fragmented. Nations scrambled to form a unified front, pooling their military resources and expertise in a desperate bid to fend off the invasion. The combined forces of Earth, from elite space fleets to ground troops, mobilized with an urgency born of necessity. In the heart of this chaos stood General Alex Reynolds, a seasoned strategist known for his keen tactical mind and unyielding resolve. His command center buzzed with activity as officers and scientists worked feverishly to adapt their defenses. The Legion's technological edge was daunting. Advanced defense systems were scrambled to counter the Legion's assault, but the disparity in technology was stark. Reynolds understood the gravity of their situation. Earth's forces were well trained and determined, but they faced an enemy whose technology surpassed their own by leaps and bounds. His eyes, set with a steely determination, reflected the weight of responsibility he bore. Alongside him was Dr. Evelyn Carter, a brilliant scientist with a knack for innovation under pressure. Her team had been working on experimental technologies, but resources were limited, and time was running out. They had developed a few prototypes that could potentially neutralize the Legion's technological advantage, but these were untested and fraught with uncertainty. Carter's sleepless nights and relentless focus were driven by a single goal: to turn the tide in humanity's favor. Despite the enormity of the task, her belief in their ability to devise a countermeasure was unwavering. As the countdown to the battle drew near, tension gripped both sides. For the Legion, it was a mere formality. Their commanders reviewed final strategies with a sense of detached anticipation, convinced of their inevitable victory. Meanwhile, the human forces were a bundle of raw nerves and steely determination. Every briefing room, command post, and frontline trench was filled with a mixture of dread and defiant hope. Soldiers checked their gear, whispered last words of encouragement, and mentally prepared for what was to come. The uncertainty of the outcome loomed large, but their spirit was unbreakable. The underestimation of their capabilities was something they were determined to overcome. When the battle commenced, it unfolded with a ferocity that belied the initial calm. The Legion's forces surged forward, their advanced weaponry laying waste to defensive positions. Plasma beams cut through the air, and energy shields glowed with a menacing hum. Humanity's forces fought back with equal fervor, but the initial exchanges were brutal. The Legion's precision strikes and technological superiority were evident. Human defenses, though resilient, were struggling to cope with the overwhelming power of the Legion's assault. General Reynolds coordinated the defense with tactical brilliance, but the enemy's relentless advance tested every limit. The human forces, despite their determination, found themselves on the back foot. The clash was not just a physical confrontation but a battle of wits and endurance. The Legion's arrogance only grew as their enemies faltered, their confidence in their technological superiority solidified by the early successes. The initial phase of the battle was a harsh lesson in the disparity between the two sides. But beneath the surface of chaos and struggle, a flicker of hope remained, a hope that humanity's ingenuity could turn the tide. The secret weapon humanity had been developing in the shadows was known as the Quantum Disruptor Array. Designed to target and disable advanced technological systems, this device utilized a combination of electromagnetic pulses and quantum interference fields. The technology was engineered to disrupt the finely tuned electronic and computational systems that the hostile Legion relied on for their war machines and command structures. The mechanics were sophisticated. An array of emitters projected pulses at frequencies that specifically targeted the Legion's advanced circuitry, inducing cascading failures in their systems. The development of the quantum disruptor had been cloaked in secrecy, with only a select few aware of its existence. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to ensure its effectiveness, knowing that it was humanity's last hope. It had undergone rigorous testing in simulated environments, but its true test would be on the battlefield against the Legion's formidable technology. The weapon's deployment was a calculated gamble, a desperate move that hinged on its ability to neutralize the Legion's overwhelming technological advantage. As the battle raged on, the command to deploy the quantum disruptor was issued. The device was activated from a secure command post, its energy cores humming to life as it began emitting the carefully calibrated pulses. The initial activation went unnoticed by the Legion, their focus remaining on the human defenses that seemed to falter under their onslaught. It wasn't until the pulses reached their targets that the true impact became apparent. Legion war machines and defensive systems began to falter. Energy shields flickered erratically, plasma cannons misfired, and robotic soldiers froze in mid-action. The once fluid coordination of their attacks broke down as communications systems suffered severe interference. The Legion's central command network, which had been a beacon of precision, was thrown into disarray. Commanders scrambled to understand the source of the malfunction, their once clear strategies unraveling in the face of sudden technological chaos. The immediate effect on the battlefield was stark. Legion forces, previously so confident, found themselves unable to coordinate their attacks effectively. Their advanced weaponry, rendered unreliable, led to a rapid decline in their offensive capabilities. The human forces, initially overwhelmed, now saw a glimmer of opportunity. The Legion's technological dominance, which had seemed insurmountable, was being systematically dismantled. Internal communications among the Legion's command were filled with confusion and frustration. Reports of system failures and erratic behavior flooded their channels, and attempts to isolate and counteract the disruption proved futile. Strategic meetings turned into frantic sessions of troubleshooting and blame shifting. The Legion's leaders, who had anticipated a swift victory, were now grappling with the reality of their compromised technology. The arrogance that had driven their invasion was replaced with alarm and desperation as they realized the extent of the disruption. For the human forces, the tide began to turn. The initial signs of victory emerged as their counterattacks gained momentum. The morale among the troops surged as they witnessed their enemies falter. The quantum disruptor had shifted the balance of power, and with each passing moment, the disarray among the Legion's ranks became more pronounced. Human strategists, quick to seize the advantage, coordinated their efforts with renewed vigor. The sight of the once mighty Legion struggling was a powerful boost to the human spirit, signaling a shift in the battle's momentum. The quantum disruptor had proven its worth, and the early signs of triumph were unmistakable. The battle, once seemingly lost, now held the promise of a pivotal victory. The quantum disruptor array unleashed its full power, and the impact on the battlefield was nothing short of catastrophic for the Legion. Advanced war machines that had once seemed invincible now sputtered and died. Energy shields, crucial for deflecting attacks, flickered erratically before failing entirely. Plasma cannons, the Legion's primary weapons, discharged random bursts of energy or ceased functioning altogether. Combat drones, which had been a critical part of their strategy, fell from the sky, their circuits fried by the disruptor's pulses. The battlefield, once dominated by the Legion's precision and power, was now strewn with disabled technology and malfunctioning systems. The disruption was not confined to the front lines. Command and control systems experienced widespread failures, leaving the Legion's strategic coordination in shambles. Automated defenses that had been meticulously programmed to intercept and destroy enemy forces malfunctioned, allowing human forces to advance with relative ease. The once unyielding line of the Legion's assault began to waver as their technological superiority was systematically dismantled. In response to the quantum disruptor's devastating effects, the Legion attempted to implement several countermeasures, though none proved effective. Their engineers hurriedly worked to deploy localized shielding technology designed to block the disruptor's pulses, but the ad hoc solutions were ineffectual against the weapon's broad-spectrum interference. Attempts to reroute or encrypt their communications were similarly futile, as the disruptor's pulses continued to cause cascading failures. The Legion's leaders ordered a tactical retreat to regroup and reassess, but their efforts were hampered by the ongoing technological disruptions. Their once precise operations became chaotic and disjointed, further compounding their difficulties. The human forces, seizing the opportunity presented by the Legion's disarray, rapidly adapted their strategy. With the Legion's advanced defenses compromised, human troops launched coordinated assaults to exploit the gaps in the enemy's lines. Artillery units, previously unable to penetrate the Legion's shields, now found their targets vulnerable. Ground forces, emboldened by the sudden turn of events, pushed forward aggressively, capturing key positions and dismantling Legion equipment. Human strategists, quick to capitalize on the momentum, orchestrated decisive maneuvers that led to significant territorial gains. Key battles saw the human forces breaking through what had been the most fortified positions of the Legion. The turning point came when a coordinated strike, leveraging the weakness in the Legion's command structure, led to the capture of several high-ranking officers. This victory further demoralized the Legion troops, who were already struggling with the effects of the quantum disruptor. The human forces continued their relentless advance, their confidence growing with each successful engagement. As the battle drew to its final stages, the Legion's resistance began to crumble. The once formidable invaders, now facing a combination of technological breakdown and determined counterattacks, found their forces disorganized and overwhelmed. The Legion's ability to mount an effective defense disintegrated as key strategic assets were lost. Human forces consolidated their gains, pushing back the remaining Legion troops and securing the battlefield. The remnants of the Legion's invasion force were in full retreat, their once grand ambitions reduced to a desperate scramble for survival. The battlefield, once a scene of chaos and destruction, now bore witness to humanity's hard-fought victory. The defeat of the Legion was complete, and the human forces stood victorious, having turned the tide with a combination of innovation and resilience. The battle had been won, but the lessons learned and the cost of the conflict would shape the future of both humanity and the remnants of the defeated Legion. In the wake of the Legion's defeat, the immediate consequences were stark and multifaceted. The battlefield, once a chaotic theater of war, was now littered with the remnants of Legion technology and the detritus of a hard-fought victory. Human forces began the arduous process of recovery and rebuilding. Emergency teams moved in to tend to the wounded, while engineers and technicians worked tirelessly to salvage and repair damaged infrastructure. The victory came at a cost. Cities had been ravaged, and countless lives were lost. Yet, there was a palpable sense of relief and triumph as humanity began to reclaim and restore what had been devastated. The aftermath saw a global mobilization to rebuild and fortify defenses, preparing for any potential future threats. Governments and military leaders coordinated efforts to secure the remnants of the battlefield and ensure that no residual threats remained. Reconstruction was not only about physical repairs but also about restoring the spirit of a world that had been pushed to the brink. Human resilience shone through as communities came together, united by a shared victory and the desire to ensure that such a threat would never again endanger their world. Reflecting on the quantum disruptor array, it was clear that its success was a game-changer in the realm of warfare. The weapon, developed in secrecy and with significant risk, had proven its worth in a way that was both decisive and transformative. It was a testament to human ingenuity and the capacity to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. The strategic implications were profound, as the disruptor's effectiveness had not only turned the tide of the battle but also established a new paradigm in defensive and offensive technology. Characters who had been instrumental in its development, like Dr. Evelyn Carter and General Alex Reynolds, took time to consider its impact. Carter, in particular, reflected on the intense pressure and relentless work that led to the weapon's creation. Reynolds, with a mix of relief and satisfaction, contemplated the broader strategic shifts and the potential for future technological innovations inspired by their recent success. From the Legion's perspective, the defeat was a humbling blow. Surviving members of the Legion faced a grim reality. Their technological superiority, which had once been their greatest asset, was now a symbol of their downfall. The survivors, reeling from the shock, were left to navigate the consequences of their failed invasion. For them, the battle was a stark reminder of their vulnerabilities and the limits of their advanced technology when faced with unexpected innovation. The remnants of their forces were scattered, their leadership in disarray, and their plans for conquest left in ruins. Any lingering threats from the Legion were now diminished, but the scars of their defeat remained as a cautionary tale of overconfidence and the unpredictable nature of warfare. Looking forward, humanity's outlook was both cautious and optimistic. The battle had proven their ability to adapt and innovate under extreme pressure, setting a precedent for future conflicts. There was an understanding that while they had achieved a significant victory, vigilance was crucial. The development of the quantum disruptor array had opened new avenues for technological advancement, and future defense strategies would likely build upon the lessons learned from this confrontation. The victory was not just a military triumph, but a demonstration of human resilience and creativity. It marked a turning point, reinforcing the need for continued innovation and preparedness. The story of the battle would serve as both a beacon of hope and a reminder of the ever-present need to remain vigilant against emerging threats. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. I promise you, nothing will happen to your finger.